thank you everybody for coming today. We have sign-ins at the front for those who did not notice, and I encourage you please to sign in if you have not yet done that. And there's also handouts coming around. You'll see a couple of things. First, a table that organizes the court systems in a pretty general fashion, and this green sheet provides essential information about applying for and getting placements in judicial externship. Before we really get started, I'd like to go around the room and get a sense of who is here. How many first years are there in the room? Okay, good, Padre. Second years? More, that's good. And third years? LLMs? Wonderful. Okay, so it's a pretty fair cross-section. So, to introduce ourselves quickly, I'm Lior Netta. I'm the Assistant Director for Publications Programs here at Golden Gate. And what that means is I'm primarily responsible for counseling students who are interested in pursuing careers in public interest and providing programming events like these, and also connecting students to resources. This is my colleague, Susanna Ramos.
Hi, I'm Susanna Ramos. I'm the Associate Dean for Law Career Services, and I've been co-teaching the Judicial Externship course for many, many years here, and have worked with many of our students as they've gone off to work for the courts. And I will tell you that they uniformly come back and say this was the best experience they had in law school. And they've had many other great experiences, but they loved this experience, and their supervisors have loved having our Golden Gate students in their chambers, and have found our students have made really wonderful contributions and have performed well. And so you can rest assured that the courts and the judges are eager to receive your applications. And so we'll tell you a little bit more about what that whole process will look like.
Absolutely. So why are judicial externships some of the best placements you could hope for? First, working for a judge gives you the opportunity to develop legal analysis skills unlike any other position you can imagine. You're constantly reviewing issues and being asked to come up to analyze them, review them, conduct research, and to give your opinion about the issues that are in front of the court. Some of these issues are issues of first impression. Some of them are issues that have been discussed many times before, but in few situations are you asked to exercise your legal analysis skills as much as you do in the context of education. Moreover, in working for a judge, you're given a lot of opportunities to write not only bench memos for the judges review, so that they, in considering both sides' opinions and coming up with helping the judge actually craft an opinion when a written opinion is required, you're oftentimes being tasked with writing both memos and perhaps opinions, and that is an experience that I think is incredibly helpful as you go off into the real world and really want to practice legal writing skills. So anybody who's really interested in developing legal writing skills, also working for a judge can be very, very helpful. Beyond that, there are incredible opportunities to both observe court as a clerk. You get to sit in court oftentimes and see what happens. You get to see other lawyers. You get to observe their arguments before court. You get to learn essentially what works, what doesn't work. And in so doing, you really develop the kinds of legal advocacy skills that we talk about every day in the classroom, but you don't really get to experience until you go out there and practice. It's also a wonderful opportunity to network. I've talked to students over the years who have talked about their judicial placements as the real kickoff for them in terms of meeting individuals. That if they've gone to a court, they've worked for a judge, that judge then connects them with other people that they know, and just being able to say that they clerked for X judge has helped them open doors with other employers and help them find other opportunities. Most importantly, I think it just builds your confidence. Be able to work with a judge and and be able to work on that side and really see how attorneys present themselves as they are in court. You know, as I said, you really get to learn what works, what doesn't work, and how to really develop your own style in a way that's effective. As I do site visits with employers all the time, and I talk to them about the students from Golden Gate that they host, time and time again, employers tell me how wonderful it is to have students who have judicial externship experiences, because it's through these experiences that students develop these incredibly great analysis and writing skills, that they can turn around projects and assignments at a brisk clip, understand the importance of timeliness and deadlines, while at the same time producing quality work. So for all these reasons, I think judicial externships are a wonderful opportunity, and all of you should explore.
So we have a lot planned for you today. We will talk initially about the kinds of positions that are available to you. And that's, we'll look at that yellow sheet. We will also talk to you about some of the administrative rules. If you're planning to do this for academic credit, we want to make sure you understand that process. We will share with you some of the resources that we have available to you at LCS to assist you in the process. We'll then talk a little bit more specifically about the application process itself. And then we say best for last, we will have a couple of students who have recently done judicial externships here to talk to you for a few minutes about their experience and where they worked and what they did and what they enjoyed about that experience, and hopefully have some time for you to ask them some questions. So that's what we have planned for the remainder of our hour, and I'll jump right in to talk about the different kinds of opportunities. You know, we've talked about judicial externships as if they are sort of one uniform sort of thing, and while they all share in common the notion that you are working at a court or in a judge's chambers, helping that judge or that court manage their docket and their cases, there's a lot of difference in the different kinds of opportunities. And so it makes sense to learn about the different experiences, to think about what you're interested in, and to be a little bit strategic when it comes time to selecting which courts or judges you wish to apply to. So I want to give you a little bit of a framework. We are quite likely to be here in the Bay Area where we have access to virtually every kind of court there is. So we have everything from trial to Supreme Courts here in San Francisco. So I wanted to kind of walk you through the map and give you a sense of some of the things you might consider and what's unique about these different experiences. And so we'll actually start at the bottom, which is a little bit unusual, but we'll just kind of work right through looking at the federal system first. And you'll see at the bottom of the chart where it says trial courts. Here, we are in the Northern District of California. There are 3 courthouses, one in San Francisco, one in Oakland, one in San Jose. The judges in all of those locations take externs. When you go to the district court, if that's where you choose to work and they choose to bring you on, you would work specifically for a particular judge in that judge's chambers. And that judge usually will have a law clerk or a staff attorney who will be your direct supervisor. And so for those of you who are considering this as maybe your first work experience, that's kind of nice because you have a supervisor who's not a judge. Someone you can go to say, I'm not sure, does this look right? Or, you know, that maybe if it was your very first work experience, you might not feel so comfortable going up to a judge with some of those questions. Those judges have staff attorneys who will monitor your work, give you assignments, be kind of a buffer between you and the judge. And in most cases, you will have considerable amount of contact with the judge, but your first line of contact would be with this staff attorney. The work that you would do is, as Leora described, there would be cases on the judge's calendar. They might ask you to review a portion of the briefs submitted by the parties, do some analysis. Maybe there's some question that is unresolved in the judge's mind, and the judge is busy and can't research every single issue. And so they might say to you, please research this issue, let us know what you think. What do you think the judge should do in this case? And so you analyze the parties' papers, you do your research, and you say, you come up with some recommendation for the court. And that's done in the form of a bench memo that you've heard about. And then if the judge likes your rationale, after oral argument, may say, okay, take your bench memo and turn it into an opinion that I can sign. And so you might work on several of those over the course of the semester. At federal district court, you are likely to see both civil and criminal cases. You get a mixture of things, as you know, when cases are assigned, or when cases are filed at district court, they're assigned kind of randomly to the judges, so the judges don't specialize in one type of case. So you really get to see a variety. And so for those of you who don't know yet what you want to do, district court might be a nice place. It's sort of a good place to go if you're a generalist. Or if you know the area of law you are most interested in is governed primarily by federal law, that's a great place to get that training. So regardless of the subject matter of the case, you're still going to learn how a judge analyzes those cases and how things proceed in that system. At the district court, there are 2 types of judges. We have U.S. district judges. Those are the Article 3 judges, lifetime appointment, the federal judges. And those positions are fairly prestigious, fairly competitive. There are also magistrate judges, and they may be a little bit less familiar to you. Magistrate judges are hired by the court. Their authority does not come from the Constitution, it comes from an act of Congress. They serve for a term of 8 years, and they are hired by the judges of the court, and the court delegates to them authority to act as a judicial officer. So they can hear trials in most cases. So in addition to getting their own caseload, they'll get cases referred to them by the district judges. If maybe there are a couple of matters that the judges need help with. They do settlement conferences, which the district judges typically don't do. Those are very interesting. So those of you with an interest in alternative dispute resolution might enjoy working for a magistrate judge. And they also share responsibility for the criminal calendar. So each month, a different magistrate has that responsibility. So when folks are getting arraigned or they need warrants, that magistrate judge for 1 month will be handling those responsibilities. So it's fairly similar to the district judge with those few differences. They're all wonderful, prestigious, fabulous opportunities, and I would encourage you to look at both the district and magistrate judges if you're looking at the trial court. There's also a pro se department both in San Francisco and in Oakland. And the pro se department helps manage cases where prisoners are filing habeas corpus petitions and civil rights cases. And so these tend to be self-represented parties, prisoners, and there's a lot of work that has to go into those cases. And so you are there to help the judges and help the staff attorneys manage that caseload. So if you have an interest in criminal law or prison law or issues that might arise in that setting, the pro se departments are actually a really interesting place to work. There's also at the trial level bankruptcy court, and some federal courts have a separate bankruptcy court. If you have any interest in bankruptcy matters or anything related to bankruptcy, and frankly, it's the matters related to bankruptcy where the court needs your help. There might be an issue, a debtor whose assets are tied up in patents. Well, how do we value those patents, and how do we pay creditors based on a patent? Or maybe their holdings are tied up in real estate, or there's separate actions in other kinds of courts or proceedings. How do all those things interplay with bankruptcy? And so those issues are very interesting. I think the bankruptcy opportunities are sometimes overlooked, and our students who have worked at the bankruptcy court have really enjoyed those experiences. So I do encourage you to take a look there as well. Moving up the ladder on the federal system, we have the Appellate Court, and the Ninth Circuit is based here in San Francisco. So this is one of those areas where we're quite lucky to be located here as well. It's in that beautiful courthouse at 7th and Mission. And there are two kinds of opportunities at the appellate level for the federal system. You can work as a chambers extern, again, where you go work directly for a particular judge in his or her chambers, working on appellate cases. More likely, though, more of our students have actually worked at the Office of Staff Attorneys. The Office of Staff Attorneys is kind of a little sort of law firm within the Ninth Circuit. And they read through thousands of petitions, cases that are typically not set for oral argument, that perhaps the legal issues in the case are relatively straightforward, don't necessarily need to go to an oral argument, and so they're referred to the staff attorneys who will research the cases, analyze the cases, make a recommendation to the appellate court, and then the attorneys and externs in that office will make a presentation to a 3-judge panel. And so, maybe once a month, 3 judges will sit here and they'll hear for 2 days all the cases that the staff attorney's office is working on, and you would present your case to those 3 judges and say, here's what I recommend you do based on my research. They might ask you questions, you answer those questions, sort of, like an oral argument, except you don't have a stake in the matter, other than truth and justice. And it's a really exciting opportunity to interact with the appellate court. And so I encourage you to look at those opportunities as well. They are typically not offered in the fall, but I believe they are offered in the spring. So that's an interesting place to work. Going up the ladder would be the U.S. Supreme Court, which is not located here, obviously, and does not take externs. So let's cross over to the state side of things. In kind of a parallel scheme, we start off with the trial courts, which in California are superior courts. Each county has a superior court, and typically those superior courts have multiple locations. So in San Francisco, they're based in 2 primary locations, the Hall of Justice at 850 Bryant Street, and Civil Courthouse at 400 McAllister Street.